Howdy, y'alls. I just watched a video from David Hoffman, and it was talking about the 50's and the 60's. It kind of inspired me about my grandfather. His family immigrated from Slovenia when he was a little kid, so he could speak Slovene, German, Hungarian, and Russian, and he was part of the occupation of Europe. And my mom, of course, my mom and my grandmother went with him to Europe for that part, and then he was sent back to. Or, if they finished the occupation work or for whatever his duty was. And he ended up fighting in the Korean War and was shot by a sniper. So he got sent home, and they turned him into a drill sergeant. Now, my grandfather, I guess by female standards, he was fairly tall. 5'9", 5'10". He was tall to me. He had the big, broad shoulders, olive skin, black hair, and blue eyes. That was my grandpa. Now the thing is, I excuse the French, but he was a badass. He did some stuff because the occupation of Europe was actually more dangerous than fighting the war, from what I understand. Because in the occupation, you didn't know who your enemy was. But the thing is, my grandfather never talked about what he did in that era. So the thing is, I was proud that he was in the army and all that stuff and everything, but he never volunteered any information. And because I just loved being with my grandpa, being a little kid, I never asked him about all that stuff. I wasn't interested in whether he killed anybody or this, that, and the other. Well, here's the thing. In the interview that David Hoffman had with this other guy, it was also spreads into the 60's. Well, my mom had me when she was 19 years old in 1966. And we kind of drifted back and forth between Utah and California. Well, when I was little, and I don't know why I remember all of this stuff. Excuse me. When I was little, we lived in an area called Isla Vista. And Goleta is kind of a mixed area, because when I talk to my mom, she says a couple of different things about it. But Isla Vista, Goleta, and Santa Barbara, that geographic area. And when I was little, we were kind of, I don't know, everybody was into incense, and I remember this. Everybody was into incense. I wouldn't have known at that age back then what drugs were. But I was kind of a free spirit. And my mom says that everybody knew her because she was Ray's mom. So I was kind of a gadabout, free spirit kind of kid. No fear. I would wander around. If somebody left the door of their house open, I'd drop in and say hi. And there was a couple of communal hippie apartments and stuff like that. I'd just wander in, walk in. No trouble or anything happened. But the thing is, with regard to the David Hoffman video, in the 60's, everybody cut loose, and our bank got burned. It was the Bank of America, and I remember seeing the posters and everything like that for when that happened. And to me, as a little kid, when you're probably between 3 or 4 years old, you're just passing through time. You're not connecting to anything. You're just observing. But I remember we had some hippie friends that used to seal all of their letters with a wax seal, and they had a big old hound that his name was Bashful, and he used to escape from their house, come over to our house because he liked my mom, and then my mom would have to bring him back to her friend's house. So yeah, the difference between the 50s and the 60s, I think everybody just cut loose. And then there's my generation, which I still haven't figured that out. We had a lot more options, a little bit freer speech, but I don't think we're being in my age group as nutty as it was in the 60s. Of course, I don't know how these people all moved around without any money and stuff like that. I don't know. So anyway, that's my self-interview. Grandpa never talked about his experiences in the war. I just loved being with my grandpa. And I was supposed to learn some Slovenian from him, but he passed away before I got a chance to know him as an adult. I spent a whole summer with him out in the forest in the Chico, California. It was where all the big forest and everything like that. So I spent a whole summer with him chopping wood for his fireplace and stuff like that. Grandpa was pragmatic. I just tell you something funny about my grandpa, okay? He was so relaxed and so confident in himself. He loved watching football, and he would sit in his armchair and eat turkey legs and jalapeno peppers. And when he got one jalapeno pepper that was really hot, he would hiccup once. And here, the thing that I thought was totally gross, he'd be sitting there in his chair, kicked back, barefoot, and he had these two Bichon Frise dogs. They'd be licking his toes while he's watching TV. So that was my grandpa. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.